Now we've learnt how to create rows and bricks and half drops, and we're now going to move on to something a little bit more complicated, which is the mirror technique. Now if you look at the mirror technique, it is exactly again what it says. It is a mirror, and you can see that the motif has been directly reflected by rotating the block 180 degrees. So I'd like to just show you how to do that. If you'd like to get your symbol ready, we've got these lovely symbol blocks here, and we're going to charge up our block just like the way we always have. And again, depending on where you like to start, I like to always start in the middle, and we do exactly the same. Now the difficult thing, if you could just watch for 1 second, when you've printed your first motif, which is here as you can see, then you have to you see you've got your block like that. I'd like you to then literally flip it over. Now you can either sort of think of it as flipping it over, or you can think of it as turning it half an hour or 180 degrees, whichever way you prefer to think. So I'm going to flip it over and print it again, nearly touching but not quite. And there you can see, that I've got a perfect mirror created with one block. You've actually created almost a motif of its own. Lucy, can I have a look at how you've got on? Hold yours up for me. That is absolutely lovely. Wonderful, superb. Perfect. And I can see, Fauzia, if you'd like to hold yours up for everyone to see. Again, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Perfect. You've lined that up beautifully. And again, Rebecca, you've done really well as well. Now, what I'd like you to do now is focus on how you're going to develop that motif. So really, how are you going to reflect it? So you've got to think about where your motif is going to be in relation to the rest of the pattern. So really, you're going to just be thinking about a mirror reflection. Now, get your block and literally just, sometimes you make a mistake and sometimes you don't, but it's just a matter of practice. Can you see how, again, I've created an exact mirror image here?
Would you have to always go underneath? Could you go sideways?
Well, I think
or does the pattern continue
I think
in
with
one
mirror,
direction?
you've just got, because this is the theory of printing, stick with the mirror for now. Once you've learnt the rules, they're there to be broken. So obviously you can do whatever you like once after that. So just carry on with a row of purely mirror printing.
And does it matter if it's horizontal or vertically mirrored?
No, not at all. If you want to do some columns rather than rows, that's absolutely fine. It's just a matter of you learning how to use the blocks themselves. So I'm going to leave you to carry on, and then I'm just going to talk about some of the other examples. Now, I was with a group the other week, and this lady gave me a piece of fabric that she felt it really helped her get some mirror, because she had this stripy fabric, which we then did some mirror printing on. And don't you think that's come out really, really well? Again, because she was able to follow the lines of the stripes on the commercial fabric, it just helped her to keep everything nice and neat and tidy. And again, this one here is mirror. Now, although it's mirror, it's not a clear mirror. Can you see it's not created a totally different pattern? It looks like it is one block, but at the same time it's mirrored, but it hasn't changed anything. Do you see what I mean? So different blocks have different qualities, and it's just important to sort of play with them and experiment with all the different blocks and see what you can create.
Could you mirror with all types of blocks?
Well, funny you should ask that, because in fact the most important thing with a block to be mirrored is the actual image itself has to be totally symmetrical. If it's totally symmetrical, you will actually get a mirror image, which I'll just show you here on this. Can you just see on this mirror here? I just leave that flat. Can you see that clearly? And if I take that mirror away, then that image there is exactly the same as we had in the mirror. So that works. However, there are some blocks that are not 100% symmetrical. So those actually are mirrored, but they're not mirrored. They're actually called inverted. So it's just a matter of playing with it and understanding it. But there are mirrored and inverted images, which are essentially the same, but they're not the same. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think the thing is, with all these things, you actually have to play with it and use it and experiment and just be confident with it. And it's like a lot of things, you actually learn by actually doing it. Well, I talk about doing it. I do think that one of the things I like to do is I've done a couple of these little pouches here. And these are the fabrics that we've created using the mirror image. I've yet to find a button that quite matches that, so I'm waiting to find the perfect button. But you can see that the fabric here is a commercial fabric, and I've done some mirror printing and tried to sort of pick up all the various colours, but I've done, the inside's got a nice little pop to it. And again, this pouch here, which is actually sort of meant to be like a travel wallet, and it's got a zip in it. I really love this. I mean, obviously I could have brought my own fabric and made exactly the same thing, but somehow I get more pleasure out of having the knowledge that I've actually created this fabric myself. And again, there's a blouse here, which I just showed. This blouse was one of my favourite blouses. And something I'm very good at doing is ruining clothes. When I'm working, I'm forever getting splodges of fabric paint on my clothes. But we block printed it with the mirror technique. And don't you think it creates a lovely border for the central panel? So I think the important thing, again, as I keep saying, is have lots of fun, experiment, play, try all the different techniques, create your own fabric, and now that you've mastered the actual 180-degree turn for the mirror image, let's move on to rotation.